Ladies and gentlemen, I always feel like I'm about to like announce like a wrestling match when I do that. When my dad and I like very few times like we would watch like a boxing match, which I never really got into it, but every once in a while when I was a kid, like he would let me watch a boxing match with him. He had that one guy, ladies and gentlemen, I heard it a rumble. Okay, today. Also, when I was a kid, my dad and I used to watch wrestling, which is so funny because it's such a not him kind of thing, and it's not a me kind of thing. But we used to watch like WWE and stuff when I was like 6, 7. I don't know. After a certain point, my mom said I couldn't watch it with him anymore. Today we're listening to Low. We're going to listen to the album Double Negative. We're listening to this track, following up of Always Trying to Work It Out. The Sun. The Sun. I like the little comma in between. Of course, the difference in sun, one being an offspring, one being, of course, that star in the sky. We're listening to this because it was suggested and sponsored by Yogi Floor. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the support as well. Apologies for my random stories going off to the sides, having nothing to do with this. Well, I guess actually, the sun, me, my dad. See? Bring it all back together. All right, let's listen to the track. We'll discuss it after. Here we go. Sounds like a sonogram, like the noise of a sonogram. I wonder what this sound is. This feedback, this thick, dense sound. You know that's something.
It's not the end, it's just the end of hope. The spark of everything you've ever known, incinerated in a light and glow. You don't know what you're even fighting for. It's not the first time you delayed the boat. Saw you dancing in the fire before your breath and barely audible. It's more than let it out than let it go. It's not the end, it's just the end of
Okay, I had to let the next song play because, like, the sun was like an ambient kind of interlude in which there's kind of basically two factions happening musically. There's this, I don't know what it is. I know it's something. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but there's this thick underbrush of feedback that's very dense, it's very heavy and cloudy, and that just kind of subtly rumbles in the track, which to me sounded like a sonogram, well, I guess because I had more recent experience, like listening to a child's heartbeat, like in the sonogram and such. But it sounded like something internal, but like very muffled. So something of that nature, which it for all I know could be the sun, right? And then there was that lighter tone that was happening on top that just kind of was very pleasant and melodic that just kind of floated on top of that. So it was very heaven and earth, yin and yang. It was very up and down. And I think that that kind of contrast was really cool. It was a really nice kind of, instrumental break. Then I had to let it go into the next track, which was Dancing in Fire. And I like how this really kept things, for lack of a better word, not so experimental, not so much feedback and, big pulses in our heads that, on one hand, like with Always Trying, like it's not so abrupt and so dramatic. It's just a little bit of a quieter track that eventually leads itself into a little bit of an explosion, but it's a very small one, but nonetheless very powerful. And lyrically, I think very deep, kind of once again handling relationships. Maybe not even necessarily a love kind of relationship, but just the interpersonal connections between people and the differences between people, at least for these two. And what I thought was kind of interesting, I'm going to bring the lyrics into this. I saw you dancing in the fire it up. Fire it up is like a phrase, like fire it up, like let's get it started. And he says, I saw you dancing in that. I saw you relishing and enjoying yourself. That's how I hear it, in that particular feeling. Before your breath and barely audible. It's more of a let it out than let it go. Like it's more of a just getting it out, like pushing it, forcing it out, rather than a more peaceful letting it go. So there's a difference there. It's not the end. It's just the end of hope. That was posted outside the city of Dis, capital of hell, Dante's Inferno. You know the phrase. A spark of everything you've ever known, incinerated in the light of gold. You don't know what you're even fighting for. It's not the first time you delayed the boat. Like, it's not the first time you've held us up. You know, symbolically, I view it as we're on this boat together. We're on this ship together. And it's time for us to go. And he says it's not the first time you've delayed that boat. Perhaps setting sail in some capacity to their future. And of course, the lyrics repeat themselves from there. So there's this kind of intensity that's happening, you know, the lyrics or the title of Dancing in Fire. And there's this enjoying themselves in the fire, when perhaps he just wants to set sail. And I like the music too as well. There's always so many little details happening in the background when it comes to the production. There's this little high-pitched but pleasant whine that's happening during this track. That's just kind of going on, which I thought was kind of cool. And then of course those big, beautiful explosions that happen in here. Okay, so what I was trying to figure out, what I was trying to do for you, I'm gonna sneak peek into something. All right, so with the Sun, you heard the track, but here's a little snippet of it again. Here's the ending. Here's some of that beauty. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys something. A very, very long time ago. Are you familiar with the movie Sunshine? Sci-fi movie. Danny Boyle is the director. If you're familiar with the movie, then you know what you don't know what I'm gonna show you. Back in 2012, so what, 14 years ago, when I was really getting into editing and stuff with videos, I made my own trailer for Sunshine. And I made my own music for it as well. I found it.
"16 months, you can get used to anything."
My editing wasn't great. Still getting used to it.
You just lose track. From now on,
It is not our place to challenge God.
I'm not gonna lose track again.
It's not horrible for when I was kind of first messing with editing and stuff. It's not horrible. You'll get my boom near the end. That's what I was trying to show, but listen to the boom. Listen. Come on. Yeah. Not bad, right? Okay. I made the track and it's much longer than that. I don't know where that is. But yeah, like the music The point of me showing you that was the music reminded me of that I made a little bit of that dynamic in Son. Let me know what you guys thought of it, of course, in the comments down below. Thank you, as always, for watching. Yerk Floor, thank you so much for the suggestion and the support. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it may be. Come back tomorrow. I'll see you all then.